Okay, so where do I begin? Where do I begin? Okay, so at the time of making my previous video, I was slightly unaware of the actual synopsis of the upcoming MLP movie, Generation 5. I say slightly because I saw that there was a synopsis available, but I had not looked into it because I was unsure of its, realness or not. Plus, I had the prior video to create in order to get that out to you folks to view and let me know how you think of that. But lo and behold, here is the video of me just reading through the synopsis and giving my own little thoughts and deets about how I feel of this synopsis and how if I'm looking forward to this thing as a whole or not. This is just going to be a straightforward, serious type of video with very minimal jokes and just maybe a still image of just me on screen here, just standing in front of you folks with the whatever expression I choose. Where do I begin? Okay, well, firstly, I'm going to explain what we're going to be doing, and I'm going to read through the synopsis and just simply give my thoughts on that. And I'm going to clarify a few things I said in the prior video to this, so you can get a better understanding. And I know by the time this video is out, I will kind of be late to the party of, the whole synopsis and how everyone's thoughts are on the matter. I kind of already explained my thoughts, but I want to clarify and add on to what I had already said. Now, we are going to begin the synopsis reading, but let me, before I begin that, I'm going to tell you all that I have a ton of red flags after seeing this. I already had quite a bit of red flags beforehand, or before Hoof. I already had a bit of red flags before Hoof, but once I read the synopsis and as I go through it, I will begin to explain what these red flags are and then go on a whole thing explaining that, so maybe y'all out there could understand my view on this and why I'm feeling the way that I am in terms of this new generation. And I advise you all out there to, as you watch, just keep an open mind, and I'm gonna say this next part right now, so just to get it out of the way, I currently feel that every pony out there in the community is getting their hopes a bit too up in terms of this whole thing coming out. I think every pony out there is already jumping to the bandwagon of this whole next gen a bit too quickly, and with the notion of acceptance just far too easily, when the thing is set to come out in September and we're in March. It's still pretty far away, and I'm not seeing any pony out there who's I'm barely seeing any pony out there who's going further deeper into the depths of analysis of the synopsis. There's very few that I've seen, and hopefully I can turn you folks onto a different viewpoint in this. Not that I'm trying to press any sort of belief here in what I'm going to explain, but hopefully it'll shed some light on something to let you folks hopefully understand why I'm feeling a whole bunch of these red flags in terms of this upcoming film that is set to release in September. Now, let's begin with the synopsis reading of the new movie. In the new movie, the pony world of Equestria has lost its magic. For me, instant red flag right then and there, and I'm gonna go quite in depth with explaining this part in just a moment. Now hear this next sentence. Friendship and harmony has been replaced by paranoia and mistrust, and ponies now live separated by species. Now, right off the top, this is could be a basic red flag to a lot of other folks, but to me, it's something so much more than just, the surface-wise, it being a red flag. Now, the main reason why I feel that this is a red flag, because It's just, when you look back at everything that Twilight and her friends done over the course of the decade throughout the entirety of Generation 4, you'd think, and with the way that My Little Pony has ended, My Little Pony Friendship is Magic has ended, it seemed like it was set in stone that for generations to come, friendship and harmony would remain as a big strong suit throughout the entirety of the land of Equestria, and that nothing really out there can even come close to tampering with the forces of friendship and harmony. But the beginning of the synopsis literally says that in the world of Equestria, they have lost their magic. It has lost its magic. Friendship and harmony has been replaced by paranoia and mistrust, and ponies now live separated by species. This is mind-boggling because, every pony, the main six and, Twilight and her friends worked so hard to get to the point where they are now, where every pony in Equestria is living happily and harmony together no matter what species they are. And for it to just be suddenly taken away just like that and reverted back to basically season 1 and beyond that is just a big red flag. Now, this is bringing in red flags because this needs to be a key point to explain why Equestria has lost its magic. Because if it just suddenly went away like that, then that could be a major turnoff to many folks out there who watch the movie. And not only that, there has to be something strong enough to be able to do that, because the way, like I said, the way they ended it in Friendship is Magic, it was set in stone for friendship and harmony to continue for generations to come, it seemed, because of all the hard work Twilight and her friends did to bring forth friendship and harmony throughout the entirety of the land, and for them to take over and, keep magic and friendship alive, so on and so forth. But it just doesn't make sense how it would just be lost just like that, and that, every pony would just revert back to that just such as in the blink of an eye, it seems. Like, there needs to be a reason why, as of course it needs to be explained. But if you're just gonna sit there and it just leaves the feeling that everything that Twilight and her friends have done is for naught. You feel me? Because our beloved main six have worked so hard to get to where they are now, where they were left off in the conclusion of My Little Pony Friendship is Magic. They worked so hard and they sacrificed so much and fought so hard to get where they are. But for it to just be lost like that, it just seems like it just took away everything they've already built. It seemed like there was nothing to really stop them, and it just boggles my mind that this is how the synopsis is starting off, that Equestria just lost this magic. Of course, there's not much explained of why, but it's just strange that it's lost to begin with, and that ponies are separated by species and what I can assume other species within the world of Equestria, because we know there's a multitude of different species, and we all know that, like, they don't want to, they shouldn't be all separated and such like they were in the beginning, like how the changelings were reformed and now they're living in harmony, or like the griffins are living in harmony with ponies and the yaks and yada yada. So if you're just gonna sit there and tell me that everything that Twilight and her friends has done to set harmony and friendship in stone for generations to come was for naught, then you're bugging. You need to leave. Get out, basically. Because this is one of the big issues I have with the synopsis right off the start, is that it seems like a very poor way to cause a problem for the next generation of ponies to fix. Like, it seemed like you could have done a different approach than just, suddenly Equestria has lost their magic, and friendship and harmony is replaced by paranoia and distrust. This needs to be this is an essential key point that we need to know why this happened. And it needs to be a good reason, a very good reason as to why this happened. Because if no pony knows why, if it just sort of faded, over the years, then that's just a poor excuse, because the way they left it off, it didn't seem like it would fade. It would only grow, especially with the finale song, "The Magic of Friendship Grows," and it would seem that it would keep growing and growing as time went on. So it seemed like basically little to nothing could stop the growth of friendship and harmony. But I just want to know why, and it needs to be a good enough reason. Like, and it's not just that, it's kind of like wasted potential here. And if there's one thing I hate, it's wasted potential. It's just the potential of like a bright future from the actions that Twilight and her friends have caused was, potential was extremely great. And for that to just be gone out of nowhere, it's just mind-boggling, because that's something, the likes of their actions should not be taken away so easily. It needs to be such a tremendous reason as to why, some great negative force that stopped the growth of friendship and harmony and replacing it with these negative things. Now, I'm not saying that it was just suddenly taken away, because the synopsis doesn't tell you how. It's just the implication that it was lost to begin with, or well, not the implication, the fact that it says it was lost to begin with, it's just it's just not right, because how can you take something away like that? It seemed like it was so easy because it just happened. Now, it would make sense if this was like a long time into the future, and maybe it would have faded by then, and new enemies would come into the world, and they would mess with the forces of friendship, and maybe that'll be the reason as to why that would happen. And later in the synopsis, there's some things that could hint towards that, and as to why this could happen, and why this did happen. So I hope you understand my point here, is that that's such a great driving force that of friendship and harmony that the main six has created over the past decade of My Little Pony, or to be specific, the 9 years, well, which is pretty much a decade, so you just, round up, that's what you do in math. Anyway, for that to just be taken away, it seemed like everything that our beloved main six has done was just, casted aside just for the sake of a new movie plot, which the only fix to this is if they have a extremely good explanation as to why the magic was lost in Equestria. And that would really be the only thing, because we need to know why, and it needs to show that it was powerful enough to rip the magic away from Equestria and friendship and harmony, to where everyone is just living in paranoia, and now species are separated, because that's just not right. Because you spent the last decade explaining, or they spent the last decade uniting every pony and reforming a lot of species and so on and so forth. Specifically, like, for example, the changelings, how they appeared in the end of season 2 during the Canterlot wedding, and from then on until a certain season, they became reformed. They were always the bad guys until they became reformed, and now they live together in harmony in a new kingdom alongside with ponies, and then they mix and mingle with all the other species around. And for example, another example, the School of Friendship is a place where ponies and other types of creatures alike can come together and learn about friendship, and make friends and so on and so forth, harmony, because they're all living together. But if you're just gonna sit here and tell me that now they're separated by species just like that, kind of like the first hearthwarming, kind of like that, exactly like that even, but not just unicorn, pegasi, and earth ponies, but with griffins, changelings, yaks, Kieran, and etc., etc. Not just the 3 races from the start, all the other races too, all the other species. So it just boggles my mind that such a thing can happen. You would think that at least, like, you know, mistrust and paranoia could happen, yes, but not the separation of species, because it's, you know, the main six worked so hard to unify many individuals around Equestria, no matter what creature they were. But for that to just be, for it to just revert back to how it was in like the first Heartwarming, it's a little, what's the word here? Unlikely, to say the least. Now, I know I spent a lot of time explaining, I only read like the beginning part of the synopsis. I even haven't even got the rest of it, but that's how deep I went when I read just the first sentence, pretty much, or the first 2 sentences, because it just says so much, just from that alone, to me at least, that, you know, it blares a bunch of sirens and waves up a bunch of red flags, that it's like, you know, we need to know how, and if it's a good enough reason, then I will get behind it. Now, let's continue, with that out of the way, let's continue with the rest of the synopsis. Sunny, a feisty, idealistic young Earth pony, is convinced there is still hope for this divided world, but her slightly misguided and often hilarious efforts to change hearts and minds have led her to being branded as a misfit. Now, this little part of the synopsis I quite adore. It's pretty nice, simple for like a main protagonist to find their purpose to aid in this, to aid this world to a better future. And, you know, they're just like kind of like an underdog, and it seems like her efforts so far was in vain, and it made her in some sort of misfit. It branded her as a misfit. Sunny, I like the name. I know the full name is around here somewhere. Hold on. Let's see. Ah, yes, here they are. Sunny Star Scout. I think, yes, this is it right here. Sunny Star Scout. That is her full name, it appears. Where did my synopsis go? There we go. Now, I can get behind the idea of, like, you know, a small-time individual trying to do her part to become a individual who can help change the hearts and minds of other ponies to bring it back to the way it was, which is fine. And, you know, them having hope that things can go back to the way they were, which is how it should have stayed to begin with, honestly. Next part. When Sunny befriends a lost unicorn named Izzy, who wanders innocently into the Earth Pony town of Maritime Bay, the town has had enough. Izzy and Sunny must embark on an epic adventure that will include a daring jewel heist, outrageous conspiracy theories. That's a puzzler right there. What could conspiracy theories have to do with things? And I'm not really much of I'm not too fond of like conspiracy theories, so it's just throwing that in there seems like a puzzler. Anyway, elaborate musical numbers, nice, always good to have in My Little Pony. And the world's cutest flying Pomeranian. Okay. Okay. That I don't see how that's really relevant to much things. I guess they're just something they just wanted to include there. A flying Pomeranian, so there's flying dogs now? Okay. We'll just move on. Their adventures will take them to faraway lands and force them to challenge the status quo. Now, listen here. I'm fine with changing status quo, but not at letting go. Alright, no, but seriously, the status quo thing is kind of like a... this is kind of playing back to that whole activist thing, which, well, I don't... if you don't know my thoughts on the whole activist thing, no, it's a big no. Big red flags there. That was where the red flags started with the whole activist thing. It's with the whole diversity and inclusion. I wouldn't really want modern time stuff included in my ponies, you know what I mean? But anyway, moving on back to the synopsis. Challenge the status quo by facing their fears and making new friends out of old enemies. Now, here is the example I was talking about of the potential force that could make Equestria lose its magic. The three old enemies that I'm pretty sure we're all thinking of is Chrysalis, Tyrek, and Cozy Glow. Those are the only old enemies that could make sense out of what they're talking about. Or perhaps it could be an old enemy of the, let's say, Sunny and something from her past or something. Which it wouldn't make much sense because this is the start of the new generation. To just throw in an enemy of, like an old enemy of Sunny wouldn't really make sense at the start of this, at least. But, for example, as it stands for the three that, the aforementioned three, you know, Chrysalis, Cozy Glow, and Tyrek, it's these three, well, pretty much almost took over Equestria, and each one of them had a hand in, well, by themselves, they each almost took over Equestria, and together they almost did it again. And you can bet your flank that they can most definitely do it again. This time in a different future, where maybe not a lot of ponies know much about them, or like aware of their capabilities, yada yada. Maybe in the history books, if they are jotted down there, and they could learn of the enemies. Maybe the statue is up for display in the Canterlot Garden, and you often have, you know, tourists coming by and taking pictures. But nonetheless, maybe folks nowadays would not be able to counter them in a sense, because apparently, you know, it's a different world, because there's a lot of new ponies. Because, you know, this is a continuation. This is set to be in the future at some point. But we just don't know how far into the future. I mean, if it's too close to the first one, then it wouldn't make sense whatsoever how how Equestria just loses its magic, just like that. Because if it's around the time when, like, you know, when the final episode where Luster Dawn comes in explaining how she thinks friendship is a waste of time, and then Twilight convinces her otherwise. It's expressed through the song and throughout the entirety of the episode that friendship is everywhere, and it's blooming, it's beaming with lights, it's all over the place, and it doesn't look like it's gonna go away anytime soon. Now, if this new movie were to take place like shortly after the final episode, then it wouldn't make sense for it to just magic to be lost. Now, going back to the three main villains here, the mean three, going back to these three, they are the only ones I can see having the potential to take away Equestria's magic, because Cozy Glows basically stole the magic from Equestria. Tyrek did the same thing and even imprisoned the princess in Tartarus. And Chrysalis, well, she took over the Canterlot wedding and defeated Celestia, and from there she would have went on. If the main six had failed, she would have went on to take over the rest of Equestria, because she had already taken out one of the main leaders of Equestria, one of the main rulers, and that was Celestia. All she needed to do was move on to Luna and spread out throughout the world of Equestria, and that's it. Heck, this was even explained to be a success during one of the episodes where Twilight was fighting Starlight Glimmer. One of the futures was Chrysalis had succeeded in the royal wedding, in taking over the entirety of Equestria. You actually see that forbidden future that was said to happen if Twilight and her friends never had met. So those three are the only ponies I see having the potential to rip the magic and of friendship and harmony away from Equestria for it to be like this, because they did it in the last in the second to last episode of My Little Pony Friendship is Magic, so they can most definitely do it again, given some time. Hey, who knows, maybe they've done it slowly over the years after they're released, after them being unstoned, after them being released from their stone prison. They could just be working from the shadows to you know, spread mistrusts among and paranoia among other ponies. And I mean, this is what exactly what they did in the second to last episode, or in the, you know, when they were spreading mistrust around the entirety of Equestria to, you know, to in order to assault, you know, well, Equestria. They were driving every pony away from each other by spreading hatred, anger, and like mistrust and paranoia to, you know, to weaken the magic of friendship so they can attempt to defeat Twilight and her friends, among other ponies. That being said, once more, I'm reinstating that these are the only three I can see having the potential to do that. Now, with that out of the way, let's move on to the rest of the synopsis. The world Sunny has dreamed of her entire life could finally become a reality, which, I know I have more to read, but let me stop right there and say, the whole it becoming a reality thing it was technically already a reality, but it just lost it, which maybe, you know, it gives the impression that Sunny hasn't been around or long. Oh well, hold on. It gives the impression that friendship and magic and harmony, all that stuff, has been lost for quite some time. Because give or take, if Sunny is around, you know how Twilight's age when from season 1 to the final season, somewhere between there, then, you know, they would Sunny would have to be around for quite a while, and which would mean that throughout her life, the reality of a world where friendship is magic and harmony is spread all about was never a thing for her, and that this paranoia and mistrust was always a thing from her birth, pretty much. So it right then and there, it shows you that it has never been a reality. So it seemed that like the magic of Equestria was lost for quite some time. This is the deep and in-depth thoughts that came to my mind when reading this. And I don't think not a lot of folks out there can think in depth with how I do. No disrespect to any pony out there. I'm just saying what I discovered so you can think of it, and maybe your views can be a little different. And I'm not trying to tell this to you to I don't know, ruin your expectations or anything of the sorts. It's just I feel that every pony needs to take a step back and not be too hyped about this, because there are many major issues here that I'd want to point out for you all to understand. And now, to really quick to explain some clarification of what I said in the last video. Yeah, I'm not really looking forward-ish to this whole thing because of all this red flags that I am now explaining. But I admittedly, from how, you know, I know it looks a little weird with the whole 3D animation, because I like the 2D style, and it's what, you know, we were used to. And, you know, I like the MLP, the first MLP movies' animation. I was honestly hoping to see that again, maybe in a new, improved way. But now it was like 3D, and how it looks like a DreamWorks movie or something, you know, from Disney. And, you know, I want to be thinking ponies with my ponies. I don't want to be thinking of Disney or something like that. You know, I want to think of it as its own thing. But on the other hoof, I am keeping an open mind about the whole 3D animation things because it does, admittedly, it does look clean.
Look at the hair. Look at the freaking hair, dude. Look at the wood. That's some good wood.
Okay, please excuse that. Anyways, the realism of the images thus far looks pretty nice. The character's design look pretty chic to a great extent. It's just, you know, I have my mixed feelings about it alongside with this synopsis and how things will go, because, you know, I'm sure, to clarify the beginning of the synopsis, I don't think we all wanted to see Twilight and her friends' actions to be just erased. You know what I'm saying? Because no pony wants that, right? No pony wants their actions to be erased like it meant nothing. And for our beloved main six, especially Twilight, we wouldn't want the impact she left on us to just be erased, which is kind of what it, in this world, it felt like it was erased. So that's why the reason needs to be explained in a great manner on why their magic and why magic in Equestria was lost. Because if there's no good enough reason, then it's just not right, you know? So there's that on the there's that for you. Where was I before? Let me just go to the rest because I forgot what I was gonna say in terms of well, actually, to finish up. But yeah, it seemed like the reality that she had hoped to make true was never a thing throughout her life. And so it seemed like it was lost for quite some time. Because if this was kind of like a recent thing and she was around the time when Harmony was still a thing, the synopsis would have said something like, "The world Sunny once knew has faded away from her sights, and now she wishes to restore that world she once knew." Something like that, you know? She wishes to bring back the reality she used to live in, where friendship was magic and harmony was all over the place, and the magic wasn't lost. So you get my point here? I hope so. Anyway, on to the rest of the synopsis. The world that Sunny has dreamed of her entire life could finally become a reality, as Sunny and her newfound friends fight to prove that even little ponies can make a big difference. Now this, of course, this wraps it up nice and neatly into a little bow, because, you know, it kind of reminds me of how the Cutie Mark Crusaders, how they're little ponies and they can make a big difference, and they even had their own episodes showing the big differences that they have made. And that's good, I like that. Of course, even the littlest of ponies can make a big difference. It's friendship 101, basically. So there's that. There's the end of the synopsis there. And as for the characters, well, going back to their names, Sunny, their full names, Sunny Star Scout. I kind of like the name, Star Scout. And in the video of, like, her sort of reveal of her name, there's a video of, like, the reveal of her name. She comes in swinging through a rope, which is pretty funny. Like, where'd she come from? Her last name is Scout. So what are you swinging on ropes or on cables like a scout from Attack on Titan? What is she, Levi? Is she shooting across the sky like, you know what I mean? Anyway, but from the seeing more of the animation style, how, you know, facial expressions go, it's pretty. I'm growing more onto it. It's still a little strange for me. I need to see, you know, more on lighting and scenes, maybe, and maybe even in a trailer to get more of a view here. But I hope the trailer isn't littered with spoilers, though, or at least something to keep us going with maybe why maybe the friendship was lost and yada yada. Anyway, let's move on to the next character real quick. Now this guy, the stallion guy, his name is Hitch Trailblazer. If I'm gonna be honest, I like that name. I like this pony, the stallion. He's pretty cool. He looks like a Chad. He looks like he would get the mayor's, you know? Like, and when a name, and his name, I like the name Hitch. It's pretty nice. And his last name, Trailblazer. Look at this, look at his face. You see, this stallion starts fires. Just look at that face. Just look at that smile. It's a very creepy smile. Maybe it's the teeth, I don't know. But he seems like a pretty strong individual. I can get behind him. And here's Izzy. I think Izzy is self-explanatory. Perhaps she could be one of those dim-witted individuals who is actually, well, who's not actually like dumb or anything. She's just, you know, she just acts all innocent and oddly dumb just on purpose, but she's not actually dumb. She just acts that way, you know, kind of like Pinkie Pie, where she just, maybe she's clueless. And, you know, here's the picture of, you know, with a ball stuck to her horn, which apparently the entire internet is blowing up about again because it's so adorable, apparently. Which, yeah, it is. I feel it's adorable too. So you can expect maybe a lot of comedic relief with this character. She could be a fan favorite. I'm already seeing it. So her full name is Izzy Moonbow. Strange last name. Also, along with the whole thing of their names, Izzy the only one having the odd one out, of course, because she seems like an oddball. Get it, ball? Anyway, she seems like an oddball because of her name. I guess she just wants to be different. But it's just you know, I don't think it's not too common for individuals in MLP to have, like, you know, kind of a real name, because Izzy, it's a very strange name for this individual, but it in a way, especially with like how their character design, it seems right. So I can get behind it. The Moonbow on the other hoof is a bit of a puzzler, because from there, what would that really entail in terms of her mark, you know? Like, and if I look at her cutie mark, what is it, like a heart and a button inside of it? Maybe that's a hint of saying, oh, she's as cute as a button or something, you know? That could be a big play there or something. But yeah, the community's blowing up with the whole her having a ball on her horn. It's because it's just such a simple thing that creates like, I guess, pandemonium in in a good way, pandemonium for folks to be all you know, crazy over this character because of that simple thing, her having a ball on her horn. And that's it. That's all that was needed for her to become a seemingly, or will become, a fan favorite, if she already is. Z is a fan favorite. And she's kind of growing on me a bit more just because of that, so she might even be one of my fan favorites. But also, I have a question. Well, I have a thing to put out for you all to think about. We've only seen these three, and Hitch was the newest one to come. And if you remember the the bed sheets, we saw 3 mares there, but there was no. We have yet to see this third mare, this Pegasi, I believe she was, in any of the, you know, the 3D formats. We have yet to see her, yet she was on the bed sheet, where we saw what she looked like in terms of this strange-looking 2D format, but we haven't seen her in the 3D format, and it leaves the mystery on who this pony is as well, because, you know, they only showed Hitch, Sunny, and Izzy, so there's that for you to think about. But yeah, there's all that for in terms of the characters. Now, I guess I'll take this time to clarify more of the thoughts I was saying before in the prior video, is that I'm being cautiously optimistic with this new film that's coming, but I'm seeing all sorts of this red flags that's not getting my hopes up too high, and I feel that a lot of other ponies out there, all you folks out there, should be aware of these red flags. When you look back at all the things that Twilight has done, you don't want that to be like just taken away. You don't want that to be gone, right? Like it never mattered. It didn't. That's why I don't like it. That it seemed like it didn't matter because it was just going to be taken away like that. And dare I say, it could potentially be bad movie writing. And I know a thing or two about movie writing. But that part admittedly is a bit of a stretch. But we'll see. But then again, you look back at the things with the whole status quo and the whole activist and status quo thing, and you think, there's just something not right, you know? I just want to advise you all to be, you know, don't get your hopes too high. Don't. As much as I would love to tell every pony, yeah, I have high hopes, this is gonna be great, which, you know, there's a good part of me that says that, yeah, this will be fine. I just not sure if it will hold a candle, especially to like the start of the supposed new generation, the next evolution in pony history, in My Little Pony. You know, you would want it to be spectacular, and I'm just seeing these red flags, and it's making me worry. But I don't know, maybe perhaps you folks out there could talk me out of my worries, because I'm finding all this very strange. I'm not okay, to clarify, I'm not looking all that forward to this because I'm very worried that it might not turn out good as every pony out here is expecting it, and every pony out there is being all hyped about it, and it's every pony out there is all being hyped about it, but like if and when it turns out to be mediocre at best, for lack of better words, it will just be, it won't be good for any of us, you know? It won't be good for any of us. So I'm just advising you all to just don't. I haven't really accepted this thing yet. Like, I haven't jumped aboard the bandwagon as much as a lot of you all folks have done, which, if I'm being honest, I'm against all of you have doing so, because it's like it's too quick to do this. The movie is set to in September, and it's just a very worrisome thing that everyone is just so quick to just do this. It's exactly like that one video I made on Resident Evil, how this new Jill wasn't actually Jill Valentine, and you know, a lot of people out there prior to the game Resident Evil 3's release were so hyped for it, and then it ended up being an absolute piece of garbage. You know, like, I just advise everyone to be cautious, you know, at least cautiously optimistic. That I'm being cautiously optimistic that it'll be, that I hope it'll be good, but there's not much evidence and stuff here that I'm reading and seeing that's not giving me much hope. There you have it, ladies, fillies and gentle colts. Because I'm just saying, for folks who are already on the bandwagon of this stuff, well, firstly, I feel sorry for you, but like, if this turns out to be great, then thank goodness, and so on and so forth. But, you know, just for folks who are still wondering and such, maybe like kind of like me, and whether they should jump onto the bandwagon, I advise against it. Do not jump on the bandwagon of this stuff yet, because it's too early. The internet blows up because of some bed sheets, and now even more so because we have more stuff released, which this one's more understandable to do so, but not the bed sheets. But still, just be cautious. Don't jump to this sort of stuff, you know? It's too early to because it's crazy, because I'm seeing on DeviantArt on the first day of the release of the bed sheets. Later the same day, I see my page on DeviantArt just flooded with fan art of the three ponies on the bed sheets, and it's like, are you kidding me? it's way too early for this stuff. You're all acting fast, and it's like, just slow down, is what I'm saying. Everybody needs to slow down, take a step back, and be patient. And we have to be, because it's in September, the movie, when it's coming out. And remember, and another red flag of why I'm worried is that this won't be all that good. Folks, remember, it happened in September.
I can't remember.
All right, before I get copyright claimed, let's just move on. It's such a long way away, and we have to be patient. We can't just go nuts already. Like, and I'm sure every pony would want, like, they're hungry to get their next fill of, like, what is to come of the next generation, because we as a fandom, we want more. We want to keep existing. And even when Friendship is Magic ended, we still kept existing. Our fandom, we did not die. We did not perish. We only thrived, because we are a tremendous fandom, and we will keep pushing forward to be maybe even one of the greatest, I'd say, maybe even the greatest fandom out there, because the magic of friendship and so on and so forth. Because this past decade of Friendship is Magic has brought us all closer together. So we are the fandom keeping ourselves alive, very strongly so too. And many of us maybe have had the fear of dying off because we had nothing else after the shows ended. But that's not true, because we have each other, and maybe because of that fear, though, many folks are so quick to jump into the bandwagon of the acceptance of this new generation. So, like I said before, just every pony needs to be cautiously optimistic, but just be, a bit more so weary, because maybe after hearing these red flags that I've explained to you all, maybe you'll understand too. And I don't know what else I can say than what I've already said. Well, yeah, I don't know what else there is to say. I think I've said just about everything I need to say. But yeah, that's pretty. Let me check how long I've been recording this for. Oh, almost an hour. Yeesh. But I didn't expect it to be that long. But there you have it. My thoughts on the synopsis is that it's just, I'm on the fence of the synopsis. Well, like, I'm more so on the bad side of the synopsis, meaning, like, I don't quite necessarily approve of it because of my thoughts on how it kind of just erases what Twilight and her friends have done, it seems. Of course, I'm keeping an open mind that there will be a good explanation as to why, but nevertheless, that's what I'm feeling as of now. But and believe me, I want this to be good. Every pony out here wants this to be good, and I'm on this one side of the fence, and I want to try to find a way to go to the other side where I can be on board with this. I can't just jump onto the bandwagon and just expect it to be good. Well, I mean, of course, every pony expects it to be good, but just believe it to be good and then just have it, my expectations ruined. I need to see more, and maybe out there, us folks can just, like, maybe in the comment sections we can all, like, start talking about. I can discuss my thoughts with you folks. And apologies for this video being extremely long, but there you have it. There's all my thoughts there. I can clarify stuff even more so in the comments, should you all out there, write something to me down there, and we can go back and forth in a nice, polite manner, talking about things of this, this new generation. And maybe you folks out there could help me open my eyes a bit better. To maybe I could be seeing something that I'm not seeing, But, because You know, I'm trying to be open-minded with this, but I just have a ton of red flags, you know, and it just worries me, you know, and seeing a lot of, I even seen some of my friends just instantly just jump on board with this stuff, and it just makes me nervous to see that they're just so quick to do this. And out of my main group, if you're watching, you know who I'm talking about. I'm talking to you, stupid! I'm kidding. I love you. Yeah, I just don't like the idea of such. You know, they should take a step back and breathe and just be patient. That's all I really have to say. I hope you Phillies and Gentle Colts out there find this, my whole spiel on explaining my thoughts on the synopsis interesting. If you want to talk more, comment section is right down there. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to close up the studio because I'm the only one in this building. Take care, Repony. Have a blessed, magical day, and I will see you in whatever project I decide to bring to you. Thank you, and bye-bye!
By the way, you should totally check out the Spirit Crusaders, the story that I'm writing. You know, the fan fiction that I'm writing. I know I haven't been, nothing new has been happening with it for a while, but I'll explain why in another video. Check out what's out so far. I would very much appreciate it and love to hear your feedback. Please, thank you so much. Bye bye.